Okay, I think we'll get started. Um, Good evening, everyone. I'm Stuart Bambino with the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome all of you tonight to our virtual San Ramon City Council forum. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm only going to take a minute here. I want to thank some of the people that made this possible tonight. First of all, our co-sponsor. We're thrilled to have Danville San Ramon Express sponsor this event with us tonight. And if you're not a member or subscriber of their online edition of their newsletter, please do so. It's a great source of information here locally. So please join their organization. Also, we have partners that help us out tonight. City Center, Bishop Ranch City Center, the Dublin San Ramon Women's Club, the American Association of University Women, Chevron Corporation, and also Maria Cooper tonight, Above and Beyond Productions, who is managing this event for us tonight. So thank all of you. We wouldn't be able to do this without your generous support. Lastly, I want to thank all of our candidates tonight. We are so fortunate in San Ramon to have such a great, talented group of people that want to serve our community. And we just want to thank you for your participation tonight. Thank you so much. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Gina Chanel from Danville San Ramon Express to handle the forum tonight. So thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Stuart. Welcome everyone to the San Ramon Mayoral Candidates Forum. We have 6 candidates vying for the mayoral seat. This is the first of 2 forums tonight with candidates for San Ramon Council Districts 1 and 3 answering questions beginning at 7:35. As Stuart said, I'm Gina Chanel. I'm the president and publisher of DanvilleSanRamon.com and the Pleasanton Weekly. And tonight I have Jeremy Walsh, our editor, here as my co-moderator. I want to thank the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for pulling this all together, and Maria Cooper for being our timekeeper tonight. And I want to thank the many community members who submitted questions prior to the event, because we will not be able to monitor chat for questions tonight. All of our questions are variations of questions sent on common themes. The candidates were not given, were not given the questions before this event. We will start with 2-minute opening statements from each candidate. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to questions. The countdown timer is visible to everyone. Candidates going over the time limit will be alerted and stopped. At the end, each candidate will have 3 minutes for closing statements. Because of limited time and the number of candidates, we have asked the candidates to save any rebuttals for closing remarks. We will go in alphabetical order with candidate Govindaro giving his statement first, and we will alternate who speaks during the questioning portion of the program. Candidate?
Hey, thank you. Hi, I'm Dr. Dinesh Govindaro, and I want to thank all the persons, all the sponsors for giving us this forum to speak to all of you tonight. My vision for San Ramon is to make it the best city to live, work, and raise a family. My background is quite unique compared to the other mayoral candidates. I've called San Ramon my home for 41 years. I'm a local candidate who grew up in San Ramon, graduated from Cal High, and then went off to UC Berkeley. I became a doctor and came back to the city to raise a family. My wife and I are raising our 4 kids in San Ramon, and now I'm running for mayor because I not only understand the true diversity and fabric of our community, but also the demand for proactive medical governance and leadership at this juncture, which has compelled me to run. And I've been a physician for 23 years, and 19 of those years have been in medical leadership roles. I have a vast amount of leadership experience involving budgeting, operations, and people management. I'm currently a public employee as a chief medical officer of a large state agency. My other priorities are safety, reducing traffic, preserving open space, controlled growth, continued economic development, financial responsibility, promoting diversity, inclusion, and sense of community. And speaking about a stronger sense of community, I've had the opportunity to see this city transform over the last 41 years. I'm the only candidate that can connect and relate with our diverse population. I have a deep understanding of the old and the new communities of San Ramon, from being raised in the old part of San Ramon and now currently raising my kids in the new part of San Ramon. For the past 13 years, I've been heavily involved with uplifting our youth. To me, there is no bigger impact one can have on their community than uplifting our future generation. I've been involved in the PTA as a board member, as well as a reflections chair. I've coached our Santa Ramon youth in 4 different sports. I have been involved in countless activities and field trips. So I'd like to explore avenues to bridge our communities to have a sense of feeling that we all live in one Santa Ramon, and I know I'm that bridge. This election cycle is unprecedented because we are facing one of the biggest challenges of a lifetime with the COVID crisis, and it's demanding strong leadership. Having diverse professional backgrounds will only strengthen our council. And as a physician running for public office, my #1 priority is to keep our one Santa Ramon safe, healthy, and thriving. I'd be honored to get your vote.
Thank you. Candidate Hudson.
Yeah, my name is Dave Hudson. I've been a resident for 42 years. And 23 of those years, I've been on your city council. I've represented you over a dozen times on state, regional, and county committees. I was your mayor in 2001, and I've been vice mayor 4 or 5 times since then. My priorities are very simple: transportation, education, taxes, and quality of life. Over the next 2 years, I intend to oversee the construction of the connection of the Iron Horse Trail over Bollinger Canyon Road. And I intend to oversee the transit plan for the downtown core, whether it be the autonomous vehicle or the electric shuttles. I will also guard against the regional housing plan known as CASA. My biggest disappointment is that we didn't get Big Canyon into the city of San Ramon. We could have had it, but East Bay Regional Park District got it, and that's not bad either. I look forward to answering your questions tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mayoral.
Good evening. I'm Aparna Madhireddy, a 23-year San Ramon resident and the chair of the Open Space Advisory Committee for the City of San Ramon. I serve as Supervisor Candace Anderson's appointee for Contra Costa's Census 2020 Committee and its Finance Subcommittee for District 2. I also serve on several boards and committees in the Tri-Valley. In 2011, the Contra Costa County Civil Grand Jury came out with a report that said that our city council was voting on overcompensating themselves when it came to their salaries, their health benefits, and other perks. It was suggested to them that they make all records available for public review. Our city council did not agree to it. This was right after the recession of 2008, when we had steep budget cuts, layoffs, and our revenues were down. The county average for salaries at that time was around $77,000. Our city council voted to compensate themselves for about a little over $163,000. A full-time professional manager is hired to run our city. So why was this compensation needed with taxpayer money? Public service is not public employment. It is not a career, certainly not about a title or an entitlement to higher office. This is about serving you, the residents and businesses of San Ramon, and being very transparent about it. After tonight's debate, even if you've made up your mind about who to vote for, I would encourage you to go to my website and click on a bright yellow button on my homepage for some information, and then decide the kind of leadership you want for our city. It's not live yet, it will be after the debate. Our debt has been increasing since 2010, and if the next mayor does not address this, we will all be paying a price very soon. I look forward to the debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Nayak.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. I'm Shushmita Nayak, a proud resident of San Ramon for more than 15 years. I'm a business owner and have my bachelor's degree in engineering with 18 plus years of industrial experience in telecom sector. My husband and I have raised 2 wonderful children here in San Ramon who are attending schools in the district. I'm serving my 3rd term as one of the board of directors for the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce. I'm a leader with a sharp vision and integrity, a problem solver, a good decision maker with proven track records. Our city needs strong leadership that works for our residents, for securing a better future for San Ramon without increasing any utility bills or taxes. My campaign is based on 100% clean money with individual contributions. No contributions from any developers corporations, or special interests. That is important. We are fortunate to live in such a vibrant city. I'm passionate about serving my city and residents. I'm stepping up to solve our community's challenge with practical solutions. Well, we have a very safe and secure environment here in San Ramon. The current crisis is, no one denies, climate change is real. I would like to have help support the economy with Green New Deal, with sustainable energy, fiscal accountability, review and adopt ordinances, maintain open space with sustainable growth, traffic mitigation, open door government and collaboration. There are lots of ideas which I can put forward and make a win-win situation, whether it is fiscal responsibility, managing the budget, having the economic ideas. We can do it together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And candidate Sethi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for caring about our community and how it will run in next few years. And thank you for inviting me. Thanks, Gina, Stuart, Jeremy, and Maria. For those who don't know me, my name is Sanat Sethi. I'm a father, a husband, a concerned resident who's trying to make my home an even a better place to live. But right now, I want to turn the focus on you, the San Ramon residents. You are all the reason I'm running. You're what makes San Ramon a great place to live. Without you, San Ramon is just nothing but buildings and road. What makes it our home, right? Now I'd like to take us a moment to appreciate the fact that each and every one of us has seen our country, the United States, for all sorts of a different perspective, depending on our upbringings and experiences. For me, I saw first America from the eyes of a little boy growing in India. Later, I saw America from the eyes of a young man applying to immigrate to US. Trying to start a new life for myself. A few years later, the eyes of a proud American citizen. Later, the eyes from a father. Now, from eyes of a residence, the city that I love. I found my American dream here in San Ramon. It's true, I wasn't born here, but I found my home here. I became a local. For 13 years, I lived a common life as a resident, just like all of you. And now I wanted to give back to our community, if you'll give me a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Zafar.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking the American Association of University Women, the Dublin San Ramon Women's Club, and San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum tonight, and Gina for moderating it. I'm Sabina Zafar, and I moved to San Ramon in 2006, when my children were 4 and 6. I did not own a house then, and I did not have a job. But what I did have was a determination to work hard and give my children the best possible life in a safe city with great schools. I built my life in San Ramon. I built my career in San Ramon, and I raised my children in the city. And in 2018, you elected me to serve you as your councilwoman. As promised on City Council, I have adopted an open and inclusive approach to city governance. More residents are engaged in the decisions we make today, strengthening the fabric of our community. This also includes building community through celebrations of our diversity and proclamations. I was humbled and honored when my colleagues on council selected me as a vice mayor earlier this year. Together, we are working to keep San Ramon a safe community with open space and parks and a high quality of life. As a parent, I have worked hard for my children. And as your mayor, I will work hard for all of San Ramon. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the questioning portion of our program. And just as a reminder, candidates, you have 90 seconds to answer the questions. And I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy. He's going to ask the first one.
Thank you, Gina. Good evening. As a reminder, we will be going in alphabetical order, starting with Dave Hudson with the first question here. And don't worry, Gina and I will guide the candidates through the order during the questioning. So Dave Hudson, The COVID-19 health crisis and shelter-in-place orders are soon entering their 8th month here in San Ramon. How would you like to see the city government aid and protect the many businesses and residents who have been so negatively impacted financially by this pandemic? And how do you feel about businesses reopening?
Well, first and foremost, I made the statement, there's been at too many meetings. I am really looking forward to something I saw over at the city center where Bishop Ranch is trying to come up with a plan to do some kind of a tree lighting or a festivity. I think that will go a long way towards people feeling like we really are opening. I think our biggest opportunity was lost last night when the Tri-Valley mayors got together and Mayor Halbert made a suggestion that we be treated like the Tri-Valley because our numbers are quite a bit better than the rest of the county. And we should have been a lot more open than we are now, but things are proceeding. We're going to follow the health officer's edicts, and I just hope that he realizes that sooner rather than later is the direction we should be taking.
Thank you. Next, Aparna Mayoral.
I've always said businesses are the soul of our community and they need to be supported any which way. Our personal consumption expenditures, just like the national economy, our economy is also dependent on that. So when people stop spending or are not spending enough, it has a trickle-down effect and a small businesses start suffering. When I was doing the first round of PPP and EIDL loan webinars, I realized US has a very robust infrastructure of financial institutions that can support our small business community. So tapping into this community development financial institutions to help provide small businesses with loans. We do not have a business loan program. We do not have a rental assistance program in our city. The Federal Reserves have pegged the short-term interest rates at close to zero until 2023. So this is our greatest opportunity to quickly set up, I recommend a COVID recovery task force that addresses the economic policy and stimulus portion of the recovery, which would be a subcommittee. The second subcommittee would be a regional collaboration business marketing subcommittee, which would collaborate with our strategic partners in the Tri-Valley and bring more resources back into the city. Most importantly, a citizens welfare subcommittee for health, wellness, and educational and recreational needs of our community members so that they can start enjoying and we can get some fun back into our community with activities, festivals, musical events that many community members are ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Susmita Nayak.
Well, our city could have done more to help our residents and small businesses and retails. Just the stimulus package offered by Fed with lengthy, complicated paperwork and time-consuming approval process, with no local bank as such taking the initiative, it is not enough. People are anxious, scared, not sure what the future will be there for. Basically, when we see the loss of employment, small business retails are hurting, and they need to pay their rents, mortgages, and even the kids, younger kids, they cannot have a big focus time or a lengthy focus time for the screen time. The mental health issues were rising like anything. Seniors who were by that themselves, we could have done much better. The solution, what city could have done is more stimulus or more local grants, some kind of funding. Well, the city has not taken any initiative apart from the federal things. They could have done much better. And as a city government, municipal, they could have done much better, whether it is supporting the education. For example, municipal broadband fiber optics is a very good option. We could have, we can think of that. It will help the education, help the medical and everything.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Next, Sanat Sethi.
Yeah, hi. In the COVID-19, let me tell you what I would do rather than city, and I know what city is doing. I would open the businesses, including schools, with all kind of safety measure, right? With the social distancing and everything. I would help with a consultant to kind of work with the city small businesses to understand their need, because sometimes they need a PPP, sometimes they need a financial solution, and sometimes they need help in the rent. So something like that we can work with the small businesses, and we try to open as soon as possible, because if they're the people who's giving us money, right? All the businesses, we losing money. We lost 15 million last year in our budget deficit. Prior to year, 14 million. Then we do that every year, year after year. Nothing big deal about that. But at least business give us money, right? And one other thing I will do, that I will go fight back with county to get our sales tax money. I don't know why they're taking year after year. And I've seen some people are in the city council for years after year, but they're not fighting back to get our money back. So in this case, we need our businesses. Whatever if I would be mayor, I would do anything to make sure our business is back online and doing the business. Thank you.
Thank you. Sabina Zephyr.
So we live in a complicated world where cities really don't get to decide. We're dependent on the counties. And we are a coalition of 19 cities in Contra Costa County. And we, like Councilman Hudson said, there are different metrics and things that are happening in different cities, but we really are tied to the county. We would, if we tried to go off on our own and we ran into issues, then the city would be sued. And then who's going to bear the financial cost of that? So I want to say we've been working very closely, one with the county. Supervisor Anderson has been amazing in terms of responding to me as I've brought issues that San Ramon businesses have brought to me. And I'll tell you, interestingly, a lot of women businesses reached out to me because they were the ones suffering the most. And the council actually did approve and is paying for a consulting service, which is helping these small businesses. And we've helped about 40 businesses and 500 residents of San Ramon through this consulting program. So we have to be very thoughtful as we're opening our businesses. We want to make sure that the safety isn't considered and the businesses are considered. How do we virtually support a lot of these businesses? How do we make sure that if people don't want to go out, they have ways to still support these businesses by ordering online, by doing DoorDash, all of these. The city is helping businesses as much as we can, but I will continue to make sure that we bring attention to the businesses, but open up in a very thoughtful way where we don't have to close back again, which unfortunately happened. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final respondent, Dinesh Govindarao.
Thank you. Well, the COVID-19 crisis has impacted every facet of our lives, and it has taken a serious toll on our residents, schools, and local businesses. And as a physician, I've been heavily involved in addressing various issues on COVID-19 and its impact. And you really need a physician leader who can take a proactive approach. Unfortunately, on various levels of government, you've had non-medical people making medical decisions which have contributed to the crisis we're in. And we need to be taking a data-driven and scientific and practical approach to address these issues, to develop policies to support this. And I know our city has been working with the county, but as a physician and a mayor of San Ramon having a seat at the table, you would have a stronger chance of success with someone who is the mayor and a physician to be able to speak the medical lingo and understand the science to potentially influence policy. And I'm the only candidate that can do this. I've already reached out previously to the county medical leaders and had conversations with them, and I'd like to have future conversations with the county and state to see if we can apply the 4 stages at the city level as opposed to the county level. The only difference separating counties to counties is a demarcation of a line. So why not do this at the city level, especially since San Ramon has lower numbers than most cities in Contra Costa County? We should be assisting our businesses with having a task force to help them with the PPP loans, the rent moratoriums, and also need to work with the banks on this since folks will have mortgages to pay. And we should also look at ways on how we can tap into our general fund reserves to loan our local businesses, assist them through this crisis. Many other cities have done this. We have to take a practical approach that is data-driven to look at reopening businesses and do this in a stage approach without compromising the safety of our residents. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our second question. While COVID was a major storyline this year, the other major storyline this spring and summer has been social justice reform. As mayor of San Ramon, what actions will you take? What policies will you recommend to affect positive change in community policing and criminal justice? specifically address reallocating funds from the police department budget for mental health services and your thoughts on an oversight commission. We're going to start with candidate Mayoral.
So I'm very sympathetic towards the issues that the African American community is facing, but I do not support defunding. I feel it is more important for people to express their opinions, express their, exercise their First Amendment rights. But the moment you cross that line of vandalizing property and disrespecting our residents, our businesses, and our law enforcement, I step back and support our law enforcement. What I have always said as a founding member of the San Ramon Valley Diversity Coalition Committee is we need to build very strong cross-cultural, cross-racial alliances in our city. And that is why I was discouraging our council last year when they were doing exclusive proclamations, which were not serving any purpose because we are such a diversity. What we can do is more inclusive things like the culture in the community, which is in its 4th year this year, which is going to happen in November. The state really screwed us. We had a chance for real reform, police reform 2 weeks back when SB 731 failed. So now the burden falls on us as city to take care of this. So I recommended for 3 years now a citizens police advisory committee from different age groups, ethnicities, partnering with the Diversity Coalition and giving input to the police department for community trust and community policing. The PERT program in southern cities is great. And the third one is a response team, a crisis response team, similar to what the city of Concord has implemented for mental health response. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Nyack.
Well, it was very heartbreaking to see the brutal death of George Floyd. Well, Black Lives Matter and all lives are important. But at the same time, every community and city is different. I am proud of the San Ramon Police Department, though they need some reforms, but I'm not in favor of defunding the police. So some of the reforms, which I think is ban of chokehold controlled by the police officers, diversified task force, and investigation for the police officers involved in any kind of shooting or misconduct with full accountability and transparency is needed. And general wellness, irrespective of police department, any field is needed. Healthy mind, healthy body. I would say it comes free. Yoga classes are awesome. I would like to advocate for that. And third party oversight committee in case of difficult scenario is good. There are so many bail reforms, Prop 25, Prop 20, where there is relaxation on the imprisonment of non-violent crimes are there, which I am in favor of. And increasing DNA collection for any kind of evidence or something so that no person without committing the crime should be in the jail. That is not good, not fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Sethi.
Hi. Let me start with the police defunding. I would not favor of police defunding, but I would tell about our police department cost this year. I think last year 25 million. It was 22 million a couple of years back when I was running in 2018. They are the great police department, no doubt about that. But only thing I will go and talk to them and try to reduce and control and work with them that why our crime rate is going 5 to 10% every year. That's the only thing I will work with them. They're the great police department, no doubt about that. Nothing. And the question you asked about what to do with the mental illness and stuff like that, right? So that I have to create a committee, create a force, and reach out to the expert to find out what we can do. We don't have money. I don't know how many budget left or reserve left in our bank account. So I have to find out how we can get the money from outside or from some kind of a private donation or anything, how we can work on that. So I can create a task force to handle that situation. Another thing that on the protest and BLM or anything, for me, all life matters. And I want to make sure I support all the protest, but peaceful protest. And I support our constitution. So I would like that peaceful anything and open space. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zafar.
So racial equity is a very important topic. It is something we need to address. And then to our residents, the safety of our community is also a very important topic. And we've really got to work together to balance this. When we did have the Black Lives Matter protest in San Ramon, you really saw the partnership between the San Ramon police and the residents to come together. You really saw how we had a peaceful event. A lot of our residents in San Ramon came out, a lot of our children came out and spoke about what they had experienced. And I want to listen. For me, the most important thing is, how am I in a listening mode to hear what our community has to say, what input and feedback they have to do. I know the Diversity Coalition is being very thoughtful and bringing some ideas to council, but we need to continue to listen. We need to get together, work together, have a seat together at the table where we have the police and where we have the representatives from our community talk about and tell us what really needs to be done. Mental health illness and domestic violence are two very key and important issues, have been for me. And even though through Discovery Council, we've supported those mental health issues, domestic violence is another one which keeps coming up. And how are we addressing this as a whole? And how are we being, like I said, equitable? For me, it is first about listening and understanding. And then secondly, how do we make our decisions based on our community input and working both with the police and the residents of San Ramon?
Thank you. Candidate Govindaraw. You're muted. Sorry, can we start the clock again?
Sorry about that. Thank you. There needs to be work done on this. We need to start having these discussions to make people aware of this. Can't brush this under the rug anymore. We need to foster these discussions. Equity and inclusion are important. First, I'd like to keep us the #1 safest city in the state. I mean, I had a meeting with Chief Stevens, and from my conversation, he appears he wants to do whatever he can to have a great relationship with our community. I don't like the term defund the police. I feel this term has really divided our country. I'd rather use the phrase reallocation of resources. And I'm not in favor of defunding our San Ramon Police Department. Currently, our police department for the city is on the lower end when you look at the ratio of police officers per 1,000 residents and compare this statistic to other similar sized cities in California. I'd like to focus on emphasis on de-escalation techniques and avoiding police brutality. Should be part of our culture. Our police department instituted the 8 Can't Wait program, and I understand more has to be done. That's not enough, but more needs to be done. Training our officers on systemic racism, implicit bias, cultural awareness is paramount. And I support rapid decertification. If there's a bad police officer, we all need to be held accountable for our actions. I feel also we need to advocate for allocating resources for mental health. Our police officers should not be addressing mental health issues. We need to have trained, qualified mental health professionals assisting our police officers with mental health issues. I'd support PERT. Our police officers should not be doing the mental health checks. We need to have trained professionals doing this. And I'd also support a citizen advisory committee to work with our police department and provide that connection between the police department and the public. I feel it's important for our police department to do more community outreach to get to know our residents by serving the same precincts that they do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Candidate Hudson.
Let's be clear about something. San Ramon annually receives awards as one of the safest cities in America. Dr. Dinesh just pointed out the safest city in California for its size. This didn't just happen. Back in 2007, we fought to set up our own police department. We picked our own police chief, we picked our own officers, and we were very aware of many of the problems that you're seeing today. This is not something new. The point was just made, and it has to be made again. What we pay for our police department is very low compared to just about anyone you can research in Contra Costa or other counties. Now, this is a problem of, I'm trying to find the right word also, Dr. Dinesh, of equity that has been going on for a while. In 2018, I've already pointed out that we should be taking classes as staff and the council through GARE or Race Forward. I have a book called The Color of Law that was pointed out last night at the Tri-Valley Mayor's Council that almost should be prerequisite to running. And I have gone to panels where Richard Rothstein was speaking, and it is going to be, for this next mayor and council, a required class with, you'll be taking at League of California Cities, just like we do for ethics or sexual harassment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, we will start with Shushmita Nayak. How closely have you watched debates in the state legislature as they work to address the affordable housing crisis with bills that could greatly impact San Ramon? What ideas would you advocate for on the local level, especially in light of the upcoming regional housing needs allocation cycle?
Well, affordable housing is always the necessity for any city that is needed in regional wise. But I believe in our city, we are covering that. But many a times it has happened that even when city council has given a particular number that 20-25% or say 15% affordable housing, but when the developers make it, instead of 18, the density rate of 18, they might go for 20-25. They make a bigger one. For example, Faria, the affordable housing, the numbers have decreased. They have gone for reducing by increasing the footprint of the density. So it is not good. And regarding your questions, city has the control for the affordable housing as well as any kind of development. So our San Ramon city has the power and the control. And we support affordable housing. It is needed. It needs to be allocated to the needy, just not the workforce of City San Ramon, government officials. It needs to be going to our police department, teachers who are really needy, whether it is lottery system or anything. A lot of things are going which is not right.
Thank you. Sanat Sethi.
Yes, I'll give you a little bit of San Ramon housing things. And we just approved, I think, this month of 5,000 houses. I don't know if it's going to be any affordable houses there or not. So we've been building houses, 15,000 houses and last housing units in the last 20 years, and we can keep building it, but just for some people's profit. I don't think we really have any affordable housing. The state forcing us, we're building houses and saying that 20% or 5% goes to some affordable, but the really people can afford it? No, I don't think so. I think we can have a control. Either you do a measure, you do whichever way, you stop first state to don't force us to build houses. Make sure the affordable houses are affordable for the people who can afford it. Not $1 million affordable houses. That's not the way I should do it. I would go fight against state. If needed, I can have a local control, whichever way it is. I will talk to the expert, come up with the ideas that we'll only build affordable houses, not the building like a crazy. Right now, I saw the master plan. It is 30,000 houses in the next 20 years. You know, Danville has got same houses in 20 years back, and they have only 7% increase, and we have 100% increase in the houses. So we need to build affordable houses, but really, and people can afford it, not just namesake affordable houses. Thank you.
Thank you. Sabina Zephyr.
Jeremy, could you please repeat the question? My
Yeah,
apologies.
I noticed you dropped off there. How closely have you watched debates in the state legislature as they work to address the affordable housing crisis with bills that could greatly impact San Ramon? What ideas would you advocate for on the local level, especially in light of the upcoming RENA cycle?
So very closely, of course, because these do come down to the cities to make those houses available here in San Ramon for us. Same with the RENA numbers. We're paying a lot of attention to the RENA numbers. The cycle, the initial allocation just happened, and now we're moving towards, what would be the real allocation. Having said that, San Ramon is the one city in the Tri-Valley that has the most affordable housing right now. We've really done our part well, especially with Doherty Valley. When I moved to San Ramon, I was able to move here because we had apartments that were available for affordable housing. And when I started my life here, that's where I moved in. And I've been able to build my life. And that's the importance people need to understand, that we need that affordable housing for people to start their life living in this great city, which is safe and has great schools to bring your family here, whether it's teachers, whether it's single parents, whether it's people who are working in the service industry. And so San Ramon has an ordinance which actually allocates 15% of all housing by default for affordable housing. On top of that, we have an affordable housing fund in San Ramon, which actually lends money to people who want to come and build, developers that want to come and build good affordable housing in San Ramon, so we can support affordable housing in San Ramon for our seniors, for our young, and for all families in San Ramon. So San Ramon, I believe, has been very inclusive in how we bring affordable housing in all of Tri-Valley.
Thank you. Dinesh Govindarao.
Yeah, thanks. I have reviewed the various bills such as SB 1120, 902, and 50, which have been debated in our legislature and to address the housing crisis, and they didn't pass. We have a huge housing shortage in California. However, those numbers are all over the place, ranging from 1.5 million to 3.5 million, depending on what day you ask or who you ask. The cost of pricing of our housing in our city has risen astronomically, and we have a lot of large single-family homes in the city, and we really need to provide more affordable housing for people to be able to work and live in the city. We do a better job providing affordable housing for our essential workers like teachers, first responders, police, fire, healthcare workers, and other essential workers. And I'd like to also include our veterans and seniors. Many seniors may want to downsize to a smaller, affordable home. And also, I want my kids to be able to move back if they choose to and be able to afford a home here. And so we need to have homes that are affordable by design. We don't need these big homes and backyards for everybody. We need to create more communities and green spaces. We currently have about, I think, a little over 2,700 below market rate units currently. Our new City Walk plan includes 675, I think, below market rate units there. And I'd recommend to have affordable housing in the core of the city with the City Walk project rather than dig into our hillsides or extend our urban boundary lines and lose our open space. So I would wholeheartedly support RENA's direction on affordable housing as long as it's reasonable. And if it's not reasonable, we need to challenge it. And the recent numbers that came out don't seem reasonable at all for the next 8-year cycle.
Thank you. Dave Hudson.
Yeah, I think the question was, how closely have you been watching this? I want to say about as close as anybody you know. I probably have 50 pieces of legislation on my desk if we ever get moved in. And a lot of the numbers that I've heard up to this point really aren't correct. We were fortunate in this last cycle to only have to do 1,400 units total, but 500 very low was virtually impossible. The next cycle, we're looking at 1,700 very low. That is impossible. We're getting together, Danville and San Ramon, a couple of us, to see what we can do when the final methodology is picked up out of ABAG. I've got a meeting with ABAG on October 15th. I'm sure we're not going to well, let me just back up a minute. For people that don't know, the numbers that we have to produce in the Bay Area go through your Council of Government, which is called ABAG, Association of Bay Area Governments. That number is going to be 4,400, and a lot of people want to challenge it. Be very careful, because people west of here want it to go to 1 million. So the number of 440 is probably going to stick. The number that's going to come to San Ramon, our last estimate, is going to be around 4,700. And then there will be appeals, and we will be asked to produce over 5,000 homes in the next 8-year cycle. This is all tied to climate change through SB 375. There is no mayor in any city, San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland, or San Ramon, that is going to change that.
Thank you. And our final respondent, Aparna Mayoral. You're muted.
Yeah, okay. Council Member Hudson is our representative on ABAG, and he voted on 2 housing bills, SB 330 and SB 50. SB 50, proposed by Senator Wiener, died, but he has promised to bring back a more intensive housing bill. And thanks to SB 330, we have the 4,500 homes right now in Bishop Ranch, which my biggest concern was always the $600,000 price per unit. Nobody can afford that on limited income people, on retired income, or working families. This is a time when we can really work with landlords and see how we can provide tax incentives to them to keep deed restricted units. We have 2,300 affordable housing units. 650 of them are going to become market rate very soon. How is that going to be possible if we just have about $700,000 in our affordable housing funds? We need to get those funds up to provide assistance, especially to renters. If we have a lot of renters, how are they going to afford? Work with nonprofits, have them earn bonus equities to pay towards the down payment if they want to purchase that unit. Accessory dwelling units are a great way to add to the suburban fabric following permit-ready, design-friendly units. We have 4,720 units coming in the next housing cycle. We need to be very careful of how we are planning and who our regional representative is. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, the next question, we will start with candidate Sethi. Candidate, what sort of transportation and roadway projects would you prioritize within the city and in the Tri-Valley region at large? Have your views changed at all in light of the pandemic and the economic downturn and their impacts on things like jobs, commuting, public transit, and government funding?
First of all, the public commuting and the transportation, we don't have a good transportation. We have the county connection buses and we have the school buses. And a couple of years back, I was kind of fighting back with the county to have more school buses so my kids can go to school, right? And we have a Measure J right now to have, I think there is some kind of a help they need to have the more buses, they need help. And I've been thinking, and they should get help to have more public transportation. In the COVID-19, none of the people, our kids are traveling. But now when schools are going to back open, I think we need help on all the public transportation. And we, as a community, as a city, we always work with the county, with the state, whatever it may be needed, that we need to work with all these agencies and government officials or leaders to have more public transportation. And as you know that we all have a lot of traffic issues. And just before COVID-19 happened, we had a lot of traffic issues. Everybody, 41%, 50% people are San Ramon, they're always complaining about the traffic issues. I think the only thing we can do a lot of, like a public transportation and whichever way we can help, and a lot of bicycle lane or anything we can do to reduce our car traffic and things like that we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Safar.
So transportation is an important one, and public transportation is certainly an important one. One of the key things that we need to do when it comes to transportation is that how do we advocate for more public transportation in San Ramon? COVID is here, but it will go away as well. And we will, in a year or two, we're going to see the same level of traffic on the roads, the same level of people that are going and commuting to BART. One of the things when I was on the Transportation Advisory Committee, I kept bringing up was this bus 35 from Dory Valley, which goes to BART. The pushback I kept getting was that, people are affluent, people like driving cars are not going to be taking the bus. Well, people started showing up at the county connection offices, and they decreased the time from an hour to 20 minutes for that bus. And there are people that those buses have been filled up when we were not in COVID. Again, we need to plan for the future, not just these next 2 or 4 years. The other thing is, how do we make sure that we are supporting regional efforts? It is very, very important. We don't live in a bubble or a silo when it comes to our traffic problems. We live in a region, and a lot of our residents are traveling to the South Bay, to San Francisco, to the Peninsula. And how do we make sure that we are partnering with the regions to provide traffic solutions to the overall traffic problem that we do have at a regional level, and supporting those initiatives? So those are keys for me when it comes to solving for traffic.
Thank you. Candidate Govindaro.
Yeah, thank you. We all know traffic has been an issue within the city as well as on our freeways. And I lived in LA for a few years, and I feel our traffic is becoming congested, similar to LA pre-COVID. Now with COVID, traffic has improved, but COVID will go away at some point and our traffic will come back. But right now we don't know what that will look like, since many companies are having their employees work remote. So there is a big unknown post-COVID. I'd like to invest in improving our roads and our infrastructure. We need to be prepared and take a proactive approach and look at ways to lower VMT, which are vehicle miles traveled. I'd like to see an increase in our public transportation, not just an increase, but make it more accessible around our city with county connection. I support the 40 million plus bicycle master plan that will have dedicated bicycle lanes, help us be able to get around the city and be more connected within the city. And also this will give us an opportunity to exercise more and help lead a healthier lifestyle. The Bollinger bicycle pedestrian overpass will also help with traffic congestion, and I support that. But I would like to see traffic expanded. Why are we not having more of our students take the bus to get to school? There's so much traffic congestion, especially when you're dropping kids off or picking kids up from school. And I'd like to look at opportunities to get government funding to improve our traffic situation within the city as well as the Tri-Valley. We need to partner with our surrounding cities to work together on this issue. And just remember, transportation is an equity issue, and we need to put this at the forefront. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Hudson?
Yeah, Gina, can you repeat the question? I think we've kind of, go ahead.
Okay. What sort of transportation and roadway projects would you prioritize within the city and in the Tri-Valley region at large? Have your views changed at all in light of the pandemic and economic downturn and their impact on things like jobs, commuting, public transit, and government funding?
Well, with half-cent sales tax, and I think that's what one of the other candidates was talking about, we set up the traffic program for the very reason is that we could control it. We have the buses, we set up the drivers, and we continue to pay them, even through COVID, to keep them there. We want the same drivers, familiarity, our kids, with the drivers. The project that I have championed from day one, and I thank my council for finally backing me with money, which it takes, is the Bollinger Canyon overpass. Things have changed. This is the busiest section of the Iron Horse Trail, and I was the last president of the Right-of-Way Trail Advocates and have run every inch of that thing. And this is going to get busier. So what we're seeing is the change that this last Measure J told us was going to happen, a 243% increase in bike traffic. If you have pedestrian and bike coming to that intersection on Bollinger Canyon Road, you're going to have a parking lot. That is the major project for me over the next 2 years. Get that pedestrian overpass.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Mattaretti.
So I have pretty much given up on regional transportation. I know the CCTA and MTC is working on a toll ordinance for the 680 corridor that will again add an express lane. So I call them extraction lanes, where they're just taking more money from taxpayers. My focus is within the city, which we can really work on and improve. We have over 500 lane miles, and each lane mile takes upwards of $300,000 to maintain. It is unsustainable given we have only $600,000 left in our infrastructure maintenance fund. So my first thing was always about building that Iron Horse Trail overpass. The costs keep escalating for that one. It started with 14 million. Now it's upwards of 22 million. It's still in the design phases. It's nowhere close to being built. The City Walk project, again, my main concern was traffic and people spilling over Bollinger and Crow Canyon, and our infrastructure is unsustainable at this point. The city of Fremont is now trying to pedestrianize and put bicycle lanes. We should not become Fremont. I had offered concrete solutions. This was not rewriting zoning codes. This was just offering alternatives, how we can move people, not cars. The other thing I have always said, the car rental companies have really slowed down during the COVID period. So talk to them, partner with them, see how we can help our communities, people with disabilities, people with students. Students are going to go back to school at some point. The 6 traffic buses are not enough to transport students. Why can't we partner with them to get people moving? Thank you.
90 seconds is not a lot of time. Candidate Nayak.
Well, back in 2016, I recommended clean energy economy then and there. So it's good that Bishop Ranch, they came up with hybrid buses, which is running. And in that way, we tackle clean energy economy, sustainable energy, electric vehicles, hybrid, and ride sharing, van pool, carpool, all these are good options. And this pandemic has given us the option of remote working. Before, remote working was not that much popular, but many of the companies, even when we come back to normal, they will opt for remote working with the flexibility and adaptability of doing at least few days in a week. So, there are some Tri-Valley Transportation Council is there, the SWAT, the Southwest Area Transportation Committee and all, which basically promotes this mass transit where we can share and get this liquid gold down. We do not want carbon fuel consumption more. It's not good for our world, for our health and everything. So we have to embrace the Green Deal, and we should try everything possible to make it energy efficient, sustainable energy economy for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this will be our last question for the mayoral forum. We do have a hard stop due to the timing of the council forum that follows. So our final question here, we will start with Sabina Zephyr. There will be change on the San Ramon City Council after this election, with obviously a new mayor and at least one, maybe two new council members. As mayor, how would you lead this diverse group of council members to a decision that benefits the entire community?
So just want to say, I'm the newest kid on the block and the newest council member elected 2 years ago. And I have certainly worked well with everybody on council. For me, it is very important to build relationships first. No council can be successful if everybody on that council, all 5 of us, are not working for the best interests of San Ramon. So it'll be important for me that not only being, the last one selected, be a mentor to our new council members and kind of help them understand what it took me and where it took me, but also make sure that we continue to build those relationships where we are working together for the best interests of the city. We do live in on city council, we are guided by the Brown Act, so we can never discuss city issues on a coffee, or something like that, which is the first thing you learn as soon as you get elected to council, that you can't have side conversations. So it is very important that as we come together, we know each other, we understand each other, and we all work together. And so my goal will continue to be to make sure that I am there as elected mayor for my council. And I'm there to build coalitions and work with everybody who gets elected to council and make sure we align on what's for the best interest of San Ramon. So like I said, for me, it's important, building relationships is important, and I will continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dinesh Govindarao.
Hey, thank you. I've been in many various leadership roles, whether in my jobs, coaching and volunteer activities such as PTA, or as a treasurer of a professional medical organization, and working with a diverse group of individuals. And I thrive in this type of environment. It's paramount to be able to listen and hear others and have civil discourse. Working as a team is very important to me, and I know how to reach across to someone with a difference in opinion and try to find a common ground. And that's always been part of my DNA. I've worked for many years doing workman's comp injury, workman's comp injuries, which can be very litigious, as you all know. And I've been able to work with the injured workers, their families, employers, and insurance carriers, and bring people together. And I feel the mayor is a very important position in the city because you need someone who will listen, relate, and show empathy and be able to connect with you. And I'm that person. You can put me in any precinct and I'll be able to connect with any resident. And my focus is about having a strong team, and cohesiveness is very important. Having any adversarial relationship doesn't really help anyone. I mean, whoever is in this position needs to be able to bring folks from all different backgrounds together. And I'm very deep rooted in this community, and I feel I have the widest net when it comes to relating to people. And I have all the attributes to be able to work effectively with a diverse group of people for a common cause and be best to lead a diverse group that benefits our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Hudson.
Yeah, I think the first and the most simple thing that people don't realize, you have to run a meeting. You have to run a meeting where it brings in the other 4 members of the council and get their ideas on the table, so that you're not finding out when it comes to a vote that you don't have 3 votes. It's a simple math question sometimes. I have chaired committees with 25 people, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. I have chaired the Contra Costa Transportation Authority with 11 members, and next year I will chair the County Connection, which is also 11 members. And it's a little bit easier to do it with 4 than it is with 11. I could tell you one other thing that the mayor is going to do next year, And you're going to perform weddings, as I do now, and I did when I was mayor in 2001. I'm not going to be the only person who's performing these weddings. It's one of the perks you get to do. I think that the job that we have done over the last couple decades with our children coming through City Hall and learning how this works has been the greatest stepping stone. And I'm looking at one of the persons running for mayor tonight, that has brought our own citizens to the forefront of maybe they can do this. Maybe they will be a mayor in the future. And I think that is an important duty that I take very seriously if elected mayor next year.
Thank you. Parna Marareddy.
So two things prepared me for this role. One is the census that I've been working on for over a year now. Working with multiple agencies, multiple city council members, city clerks, city managers, understanding each one's mindset and making it work for our city, our district too, was a big challenge for me. It prepared me for this role even better than I thought it would. We have one of the highest counts in California, despite the COVID restrictions for the self-response rates, only because of that collaborative effort that was made with the multiple agencies. The second thing is, I think more than half San Ramon and San Ramon Valley knows I was at the receiving end of racism when I announced my mayoral run. And then within a span of 2 months, I was called a racist. So I found a middle ground to hold conversations with people to see where this was coming from. Again, nothing offended me. It was jarring, but it was not offensive because people are thinking differently, change is different, and that's what I bring to the table. If I am elected, working with the people who are already in office, Dave Hudson and Sabina Zafar are not up for re-election till 2022. So I know working with them would be very important, along with the new people who are going to come in. It is a very easy role for me because I have done this pretty much in every aspect of my life on the several boards and committees I serve on. So it's a very easy thing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Susmita Nayak.
Can you please repeat the question for me?
Sure. There will be change on the San Ramon City Council after this election, with obviously a new mayor and at least one, maybe two, new regular council members. As mayor, how would you lead this diverse group of council members to a decision that benefits the entire community?
Very good question. Well, as a mayor, the first and foremost important qualification I see is a vision, a big picture, a goal, where you can get a lot of things done in the sense whether it is in terms of action items, agenda items, or anything. And being a team player is first and foremost thing needed in each and every organization, whether local or private, doesn't matter. But difference in opinion is always healthy. We do not want all the 5 votes going yes, but at the same time, a healthy discussion in front of everyone is considered as good, even if it permits as Brown Act. Any particular bill, if it is not clear, we can discuss, we can have that written properly. And then with the right way, if the right council and right collaboration, we can make this as a very effective council, which works for the benefits of the residents. That is the first and foremost goal, not for any special interest, not for any personal benefits, but just residents and the city is the main criteria. They are we are accountable for their votes, and we are their voice and values. We are representing their voice and values. So that is my goal, because everyone's vote is the same, whether it is mayor or council, it is the same value. Thank you.
And Sanat Sethi.
Yeah, hi. So the diversity is going to go up. You know, if you look at the San Ramon last 20 years or 15 years, the way it is happening, so it is going to be the very diverse group of people in the council, right? And me, I work at a lot of leadership role. I manage a lot of people. I'm a people mentor. I'm a people developer. I work with a team, take a lot of decisions. And those are the skills I have, right? But for me in the city council, right, any kind of a decision we take, as long as you can convince people, you have the fact, and it is the right and the right motive for the resident, then people always go with you. I always believe that most of the council member, whoever giving the vote, they come, they represent the people. I don't think they will do anything against the people. So for me, as with my experience, I will definitely convince the people in all the diversity and all the diverse group of people in the city council, as I have the skill also to do that. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That does mark the end of our questioning period this evening. Each mayoral candidate will now have up to 3 minutes to provide closing comments. We will go in reverse alphabetical order this time and start with Sabina Zephyr.
Thank you so much. Let me unmute myself right here. So I just want to, first of all, thank my fellow candidates for joining me on this forum tonight. I also want to thank all the virtual audience and residents of San Ramon that have dialed in or are watching us remotely. I was elected to San Ramon City Council, the first Asian American member of the council. This was a meaningful victory for our city, where a large majority is now residents that are from Asian descent. I have been involved in the city. I have mentored our youth in civic engagement through internships and engagement in city services. And as our city matures, we must understand that a delicate balance needs to be struck between the growth and maintaining our quality of life. Because I understand the needs and desires of the community must come first. The pandemic is straining city finances, impeding local businesses and our livelihoods. I'm committed to providing the level of service to the residents that have come to expect while being fiscally responsible. To meet these challenges requires a steady hand and innovative thinking. Both in my professional and public life, I have experience leading teams to find solutions to new problems. This has been especially useful right now on council and will help me lead the city as mayor. In closing, I do want to reiterate that beyond San Ramon's immediate response to COVID-19, there are other challenges that require community engagement and management skills. As a council member and as a community volunteer, I am widely recognized for my efforts to bring the community together. As mayor, I will combine my community roots and my business technology background with the real experience that I have gained on city council to lead our city through unprecedented times. The future of San Ramon is bright. I would be honored to have your support.
Thank you. Sanat Seti.
Our time has been way too short, but I hope everyone picking up the theme. The way this city is being run is not the way it should be run. Our city is great, but we can do better. Unlike other candidates, I'm not a politician or an orator or narrator. I don't tell stories. I'm a simple man who cares about San Ramon with no ulterior motives. I'm the man who can get things done, believe in action. I'm the man who will not only save our city from the mistakes of our current leaders, but revitalize our city for the future. I'll fix our budget. I'll bring back the taxpayer money from the county. Just to give an example, the last year they pay 1.2 million to Contra Costa County with a Bishop Branch contract they have been having for the last 20 years. Not sure why. And just to tell people, whoever watching and listening, from 2014 to 2019, we have always a negative budget. That means we earn less and spend more. And how do we get the negative? That at least I always want the people to go and spend 30 minutes to look at the finances in city council or the city website. I vote against the development that cannot provide enough traffic, causes traffic gridlock, overcrowded school, no parking. And I will work with the police force to reduce or control the crime. And they are a great department, no defunding police. I'll make sure safe transition to reopen school and businesses. I'll protect our all parks, golf courses, green spaces, like they're all we have. Give me the job of mayor, I'll show you how a city runs when leaders don't have their own self-interest at heart. And thanks everyone to keep your ears open tonight. You know what is the right thing to do. And I know you will make the right decision in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Susmita Nayak.
Dear residents, are our existing council making good choices and decisions for our city? Are they representing our community's voice and values? Well, I'm the first one among all the candidates here who has voiced opposition to the City Walk Master Plan, comprising of 4,500 housing units with 5 to 7 story buildings. Yes, you are hearing it right, 5 to 7 story buildings. We are on fault zone. Safety factors like earthquakes, fire, traffic, school overcrowding, rise in crime rates, the list goes on, and it cannot be ignored. I'm surprised how this project got approved by council and planning, despite of so much opposition and appeal from our residents, how the earthquake factor was not flagged by fire department. What is the need for the new 2-story building training, the training center for San Ramon Valley Fire Department? Have you ever thought? This is very complicated. And let me tell you again, the city of San Ramon is a charter city. The governing council is responsible for the city's ordinance, operations, and budget. As city, we have the authority to adopt laws regarding municipal local affairs. We decide how to use our local dollars and for our local needs. It's the time, it's not how our city officials will say that our hands are tied and we need to follow certain ordinances. No, it is our local control. We have our city center for shopping, dining, entertainment. So we already have a downtown. And regarding the affordable housing, we want to do more, but with the proper manner, meeting the EIR, not like risking so many lives. We need to elect a candidate who has the leadership with vision and capability to move our city forward in positive direction without increasing the tax on working families. We should be focusing on creative strategies to balance the city budget in more judicious and economical ways to help our community. This election is about the future of San Ramon, and I believe in this future. This election, please vote for the mayor you can believe in. As your mayor, I will work for the community with due diligence and get things done without getting influenced by any special interest. I believe in standing up for what is right. I have strong leadership skills with passion, motivation, vision, and integrity to keep our city moving forward. So I would like to earn your vote and support. Please vote for me on November 3 or prior. Thank you very much. Shushmita Nayak for San Ramon Mayor.
Thank you. Aparna Madhareddy.
There are 176 measures this November, and they are all direct tax increases for us for decades to come. Do you see a problem here? Keep raising our taxes, spend it without any oversight, and then come back for more. And what do we get in return as taxpayers? More congestion, more pollution, poor quality of life. Elected officials provide a lot of lip service to appease voters who trust them to do the work for them. In the last few months, when so many businesses and families were struggling in our city, how many of our city officials offered to give up their salaries for us for a year, for 6 months? Despite the COVID crisis, I managed to get the census counts in our city surpass our 2010 numbers only due to the support from our residents and staff, not from our council members. I wish they had supported it. And this is money that will be helpful for our city, not for me. You now have the opportunity to elect a mayor who will work for you with utmost transparency and compassion and be beholden only to you, not big money, not outside interests. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you check that yellow button and see what you're voting for, because that's exactly what you're going to get more of. No conversation has ever been off the table for me. Undergrounding of power lines on the south side, a sound wall on the west side. By the way, I did take action on the sound wall 2 years back when I spoke to Catherine Baker, our assemblywoman at that time, but no one followed through. I did not have the authority to do anything about it, and that's how it's going to continue happening if I don't win. Our regional housing numbers, I already talked about that. Those just came in, and that's 4,270 units. Was that important to anyone? If you do not have a very strong person to represent you at the regional level to get those housing numbers changed, we are going to end up with those housing numbers in our city. There are bills being proposed in Sacramento to build on protected land. That means homes can be built on golf courses. Church of the Valley residents, pay attention. Anything can happen in the name of affordable housing. Dave Hudson and Sabina Zafar are not up for re-election until 2022. They are only running for the title of mayor. Even if they lose, they get to be on the council. But you need a strong voice that will be on the council to stand up for you. You are not an endorsement or a vote for me. Your needs matter to me. You matter to me. Your next mayor has to be a very effective communicator and listener so that you are aware of things before they come in, not after. It's too late to provide input. This is not about a party affiliation, but about a person who can look at you in the eye and say, I did it for you, the residents and businesses of San Ramon. Not for a photo op, not for a title. Thank you. It'll be an honor to earn your vote.
Thank you. Next, Dave Hudson.
Yeah, for over a quarter of a century, I am proud of the decisions that we have made to make San Ramon your home. We are recognized as one of the safest cities in America. Thank you, San Ramon Police Department. We are recognized as the richest city in America. We are recognized for our growth management and our preservation of open space, and we are recognized as the highest total property tax evaluation of any city in Contra Costa County. Our schools are among the highest rated. Our parks and programs are among the highest rated. Our future is very bright as we navigate the mandates of smart growth and emission reduction. One of only 2 cities in California that was allowed to have an autonomous vehicle on their streets. Concord and San Ramon, a business park in San Ramon. This is your city, staff, council, and commission staying ahead of the curve at every turn. And I am asking for your vote to stay on top of innovation and successes in the next decade. I want to thank you for listening tonight, and I have to respond to something I heard earlier. We have heard over the last 2 forums some numbers that are just, I can't address them all, but I can clarify one thing to you right now. As a council member, I make about $900 a month. If you elect me mayor, I will make $100 more than Sabina. Thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you. And to wrap up this evening, Dinesh Govindarao.
Thank you. Having called San Ramon my home for 41 years, I have a strong passion for giving back to the city that has given so much to me and my family. My parents built their American dream off a foundation of their strong family values that include humility, compassion, respect, and a strong work ethic, which have been instilled in me. When I look for leadership qualities in a mayor, it's someone who has those values, who can connect with our community, someone who will truly listen, and someone who is authentic. I have all the attributes to lead this great city. I've walked many neighborhoods in San Ramon. No matter what precinct I'm in, I'm able to genuinely connect with any resident. Next, I'd like to address my experience. Experience should not be solely defined by how many committees you have served on in the city. I have a proven track record of being a natural-born leader. 19 of the 23 years of being a physician, I've been in leadership roles. When I became the medical director at Boeing Satellite Systems, I had 1 year experience for a job that required at least 5 to 10 years experience. Within 6 to 12 months, corporate was wanting to elevate me to the next level. Next at Concentra, I was the youngest physician to climb up the ranks and have a position on the executive medical team as a vice president and national medical director of work sites. And for the last 7 years, I've been the chief medical officer for a state agency called State Fund, the largest workers' comp insurance carrier in California. Despite not having any insurance experience, I've been instrumental to help lead our medical initiatives where we have been recognized as the industry leader. If these companies did not give me an opportunity, they would have lost out and not reaped the benefits and accolades from my leadership. I have the transferable skills and the leadership acumen to lead the city. In conjunction with my medical leadership roles, I prioritize giving back to the city of Santa Ramon by uplifting youth over the last 13 years. To me, there is no bigger impact one can have on their community than uplifting our future generation. Now, you have many candidates to choose from, and I'd like to share with you what differentiates me from the other candidates. I'm truly the people's mayor. I have the widest net when it comes to relating to our residents, whether old parts or new parts of Santa Ramon. When you look at who's representing the face of Santa Ramon, you want someone who's investing in our city, who cares about the welfare of the city, who can connect with the people. Because of my 41-year tie to both sides of Santa Ramon, I'm the candidate that can best empathize with and understand every aspect of our community. I'm the only candidate that has the medical and business background who can successfully navigate the complex and crucial decisions we'll be making for our city to mitigate the COVID-19 crisis. And I bring a fresh perspective. I'm not trying to climb the political ladder when a new opportunity opens up. Two of our mayoral candidates, council member and vice mayor, which was mentioned, are running from a safe seat on city council. This means that if they lose, they will serve on council for the entire mayoral term. They will also retain the same voting weight as the mayor, which is 20%. If you like any of the candidates who are on council, as well as my platform, a vote for me still keeps them on council with the same voting power. Now, as a physician running for public office, my #1 priority is to keep our One Santa Ramon safe, healthy, and thriving. I humbly ask for your vote. Please visit my website, drdineshforsantaramon.com, my Facebook and Instagram page, and please watch my campaign video. And I'd like to thank all the sponsors for making this forum possible. I also want to thank all the viewers for taking time to listen to the candidate forum today. And finally, I'd like to thank my family and all my supporters.
Thank you. And on behalf of danvillesanramon.com and Jeremy and myself, I thank all of the candidates for participating. And we are going to take about a 10-minute break while the council candidates come online. And then we will start with the second forum tonight for District 1 and 3 council candidates for San Ramon.
Thank you.